Mr Speaker, to the Minister of Finance, does he consider the long-term fiscal track to be sustainable? And if not, what options is he considering to rectify this?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, yes, provided we maintain the fiscal discipline set out in last week's budget. The most important feature of making the fiscal track sustainable is that we do not get overwhelmed by rising debt and finance costs, as threatened to be the case 2 years ago. Last week's budget showed net debt is now contained, peaking at a low level of 27% of GDP in 2014-15 and falling steadily after that.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
To the Minister, will he further strengthen the government's net assets by supporting the growth of Kiwibank, which is currently valued at around twice the assets the government has already committed to it?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the government makes a number of decisions from time to time in investing in SOEs, also in other government assets such as infrastructure and a range of other things, and it will make those decisions from time to time as required.
Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, what steps has the government taken to ensure long-term viability of its finances and continued delivery of New Zealand superannuation?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, our commitment to New Zealand superannuation is absolute. All budget projections include funding superannuation from age 65 at 66% of the average wage. To guarantee that this is affordable, we have had to take responsible decisions in each of the past two budgets. We stopped the rampant growth in government expenditure and reprioritised where needed, lived within a reduced new spending allowance and improved the tax system to boost growth. The upshot is that we have debt under control so future taxpayers can breathe easier.
Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, will his consideration of Kiwibank's capital injection proposal take full account of the business case which departing CEO Sam Knowles today described as compelling?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, as the member will be aware, the government receives a fair number of business cases that are regularly described as compelling, and it assesses them all and prioritises them accordingly.
Amy Adams.
Supplementary to the Minister. What's the single biggest risk to the government's ability to support vulnerable New Zealanders?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the single biggest risk to the government's ability to deliver quality public services and maintain entitlements such as New Zealand Super and working for families would be out-of-control debt. That's why we have rejected a range of poorly thought-out expenditure ideas, including borrowing $2 billion a year to gamble on world share markets, continuing the rapid expansion of the public service and expanding benefits to people with spouses in work. Those suggestions, combined with others that would push up debt, come from the other side of the House.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, why is he considering privatising Kiwibank when its benefit is obvious to the 700,000 Kiwis who have chosen to make it their bank? Or does that not count with a national government that is intent on selling off the family silver to pay for upper income tax cuts the country cannot afford?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the government has given no consideration to the privatisation of Kiwibank.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, does he agree that Kiwibank benefits all New Zealanders by putting competitive pressure on the big four Aussie banks and by expanding credit faster than our external debt, which he described as our largest single vulnerability?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Kiwibank certainly makes a contribution to the government's assets, as does a huge range of the SOEs in their various forms of business.
Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to table a transcript of the Minister taped at a National Party conference setting out his intentions to privatise state assets.
Members are at liberty to seek leave to table any document that's not readily available to members of the House. Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is objection. Question number 6, Hone Harawira.